This week, Nintendo dazzles us with a new Indie World showcase, and did Phil Spencer tease us with another Nintendo surprise? Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Friend Code. I'm your host, Michael Damiani. This week, I'm joined by Michael Huber.
Yo!
How you doing? You are recovering from your first dose of the vaccine, just like I am.
Just yesterday. Oh, dude, the arm is hurting. It was yesterday was a lot of pain. Today is less, but I was like showering and moving it, and now it's like hurting again.
Oof. I felt a little bit too, Huber, so I'm with you a little bit. And we have a special guest today, Godswill Ugwa Jr. of Viz. How's it going?
It's good. I'm honored to join the show. It's good to see you again, Michael. Michael's also nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got my second shot of Pfizer and finally recovered from all that. So yeah, I know the pain you guys are going through, and I'm rooting for you guys as you guys get your second shot.
Now,
Nice.
I wanted to just show what I got recently.
Hey.
From Viz, Ask Iwata. I've been reading through this. But yeah, I was eagerly anticipating this when it was announced. I was so excited when it announced it was coming out here. But for our audience who probably has no clue about our relationship, the two of us worked together at Funimation when I was there very briefly for about a year when I was in Texas after I was laid off from game trailers and before I joined Easy Allies. So we have a little bit of an anime history there and some fun times. But we have a lot of video game stuff to talk about. Some of it may be anime related, we'll see. Because Nintendo presented a new Indie World showcase earlier this week. Covered a bunch of indie game announcements. Some you might debate whether they're actually indie games or not. And I'm kind of curious between the two of you. Did you have any standout announcements from there, or was there anything that kind of surprised you?
House of the Dead.
House of the
Dead's coming back.
Yeah,
House of the Dead. Yeah.
Huber. Okay, yeah, Huber.
Yeah.
So this episode, I really wanted to cover Indie World Showcase because obviously it's a Nintendo focused podcast. But Huber and I do a stream every week, Godswill, called Mike and Mike, where we play games. And in the middle of it, Chat was telling us about some of the announcements because we missed the Indie World Showcase. And each one Chat was telling us about, Huber went nuts. He was like, what? Like, he was going crazy. I'm like, okay, we need to like record something about this. Because I had no idea Huber was that excited about this stuff.
Well, the first one was a show. It was Warrior Season 3.
Okay.
This show everyone thought was dead. Now it's like back to life. So that excited me.
Interesting.
And then, House of the Dead. Like, Brad and I, still to this day, that game had such a big impact on our lives because we used to go to the arcades together. The play, of course. And then I had House of the Dead 2 on Dreamcast with 2 gun cons. And that version was really cool because there was, like, a progression mode. You could, like, earn currency and, like, unlock abilities and all these fun things. So it's really fun. And then obviously House of the Dead Overkill on Wii, which was way later, but like an excellent House of the Dead game. And that's pretty much been it for a while. I think there was House of the Dead 3 or 4D, like some other weird arcade ones. But really, 1, 2, and Overkill are the highlight of this series. And it's been dormant for a while. So the fact that they're remaking the original, I thought was a really big announcement. Kind of unexpected, out of nowhere.
Yeah, it looked beautiful, honestly. Like, I just recently watched the indie showcase. I actually liked a lot of it, like most of it. Like, I'm not a huge indie gamer, but I'm trying to get more into it. And seeing the House of the Dead was stand out, but actually, like, even more of the games that like I had no clue about at all, like, really like stood out to me. And like, I'm like, maybe I should play more indie games.
Yeah.
They always have pretty good surprises, and I'm glad they do this. This has become a staple of Nintendo. These showcases have gone through some revisions, but they always happen around certain times. Like usually this one would happen around like Game Developers Conference because That's when Nintendo decides to do it. And the next one they usually do is around like PAX Prime later in the year. But obviously with COVID going on, things are still out of whack. So they, they're doing their best that they can. But yeah, I like. There's a lot of games I feel that you learn about from these that you would otherwise never hear about. So I feel like these are always worth doing. And this is a little like kind of like brief segue, Huber, because you were talking about like Sony getting a lot of flack lately, like the narrative around Sony about abandoning indies. But like people always point out Nintendo doing stuff like that, doing these big indie showcases. And well, Sony clearly does feature indie titles and their stuff still in their state of plays. I wonder if you could see why maybe some people sometimes think that way, because Nintendo is like putting such a spotlight on indies like several times a year.
Totally. I think it's so smart to have a dedicated indies type thing, because they're all video games to me, but like still at the end of the day, like some get hundreds of millions of dollars, some get no money and are worked on one people. So it is nice to highlight those smaller games because they don't have the advantage that the bigger companies do. And it's just, as a consumer too, it's like, oh, Nintendo really cares about these smaller games. Like it's just good vibes all around.
Absolutely.
Like the spotlight.
I agree. Like the fact that they're doing like an indie sale, that they actually did like a showcase just for indie games. Like one thing that sort of bumps me out, like when I do watch the other, like Sony, like State of Play, I guess, right? And the indie games are showing, and it just sort of feels a little sad when people are like, "Oh, where's the big games? Where are the big games?"
Yeah.
It's just to sort of gloss over like what these indie games are about.
Such a good point.
And it feels really good that it got its own showcase. And like I didn't have any expectations because it's all indie games. These are all brand new original games. Oh, as we saw, there's actually quite a few remakes that are in the pipeline. So it did feel like very respectful. And I mean, I wouldn't have ever really known about these games because I feel like there's just such a deluge of games that I should be playing. Yeah, I'm so behind on my GameCube, but this is actually like, okay, I got more games to play. And it makes me want to turn on my Switch more.
Really good point bringing up the way Sony does it. I like that point because, like, the viewers in the chat and like us even, just the way the presentation goes, it's like, huge game. Okay, let's like brush over the montage of indie games instead of like really honing in on it. That's a good point. Yeah, it makes it feel like it's just like something to get through.
Yeah. Like almost padding in between the big game releases. And like I don't think that's their intention, but and unfortunately that's like the way that it's taken. And like this one is like, okay, let's put some respect on the indie gamers and the indie game developers.
Yeah, heck yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the also like the sizzle reel thing, because that's where House of the Dead remake was. Because shortly before I invited both of you to this Zoom call, I was like, was House of the Dead not in the Indie World Showcase? Because I was kind of like speeding through it again. I'm like, I skipped over the sizzle reel because sometimes the sizzle reel is usually stuff we already know about. I got caught. It was in that part. I was like, oh, that's where it was. I'm glad you think it looks good. Huber, I know you were also mentioning the visual style of it.
At first, I was a little... There's an adjustment. At first, I was like, whoa, it's not what I expected. And then I watched it again. I watched it this morning. And I like the way it moves. I like the way the creatures are moving, coming at you fast. So yeah, the whole vibe I like now. But initially I was like, oh, it looks a little weird. But then once I really saw it in motion, super into it.
I agree with that. Like I did think like it looked a little strange at first, but then it seems more smooth now.
Yeah.
There's one I definitely want to talk about from the showcase, but before we get to it, this one also elicited a massive reaction out of Huber. And I have to understand why. It looks amazing. Watching it in action, I actually want to play this a lot. Ollie Ollie World.
Yes! Dude, this looks so different. Help me out, guys. I really don't know. I haven't done the deep dive into this one. So I don't know, like, other than the crazy looking visuals compared to the other ones, it looks a lot different, like a radical departure. The first two I love so much because they're so brutally hard, but it's one of those games that, like, when you fail, you're right back there, like quick loads, like you fail, boom, start over. And you always feel like you're so close, like you can do it. You can beat it. You can get through. You can land those combos. You can land those tricks. So just really easy to pick up but like really hard to master. So super fun games.
I noticed they mentioned something about the difficulty, and I think they said something about like some kind of easier option for people just to like enjoy it.
Perfect.
Because as you said, I'm pretty sure they said something about that. But even if it just looks so pretty in fluid animation that I'm sure it's just fun to like keep replaying those parts to see, because you're probably gonna miss a lot of stuff in the backgrounds and the details. So like an action platformer like that, you're definitely gonna want to like. It's about going fast. It's like, no, let's slow down, and I'm sure it'll be enjoyable that way.
Yeah.
And also, like, it looks like there's multiple like routes you can go on.
Yeah,
and just,
yes.
Yeah,
that was so cool, because I'm like, wait, we're getting to a vert. I'm like, so we just do tricks at it, and you're like, now you're gonna go down. I was like, oh man, okay, that's pretty cool. I was like, all right, that's clever. Because Huber, I was unfamiliar with this until I heard about it in the Indie World Showcase. Yeah.
Yeah, the first two, they're just small time games. Like one was popular, and then two came out pretty quickly to one and tried to like capitalize, when the first one is like, oh, that's a cool game, it's well known kind of. Two tried to like, take it to the next level, and I think it did. A lot of people played Ollie Ollie too.
Now, I know Huber's a big fan of this, but Godswill, for me, the biggest announcement of this was getting an update on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. That brief trailer, it just looked to me, I know this is a very leading statement here, but it looked great, because it looked like the older arcade games. Like, this is just what I wanted.
Yes, absolutely. Like, it definitely feels like we're bringing the arcade back home. And I mean, I'm like, yes, this is a perfect party game. I think we've been wanting something like this. It's like our generation, right? Like, has been wanting something like this. That's not as brutally hard as like the arcade or the Super Nintendo, right? But also like more accessible for us to play, right?
Yeah, because like Streets of Rage came out right at kind of COVID times, I feel like, or like pretty close to lockdown and everything, and that's such a party game, so I never really got to have that 4-player in the same room smashing enemies. So yeah, Turtles, it's time.
I forget if it was only in the trailer and the thing they showed in the New World Showcase, but seeing like Rocksteady Bebop, seeing like the staples, and like the complexity to their animations as they showed off each of the 4 turtles, showing off their basic attacks. Then like they had like a special that looked way more complex looking than anything I'd seen in a previous arcade version. Maybe not the one I never played on Sega, Huber, that you're a champion of.
Hyperstone Heist.
Hyperstone Heist. I need to play that someday. But
it's basically Turtles in Time. It's very, very similar. Very, very similar. Different level, different boss.
Hey,
Similar.
When we're back in the studio, Huber, we're gonna have to make that one of the first full playthroughs. This is Hyperstone
Heist,
just so I can get educated on that.
Heck yeah!
But like, it just makes me so excited to see this. Like I know the first reveal trailer, like having the theme song. There's some people like, oh, they tweaked it a bit. It doesn't sound the same. It's like, well, everything's not gonna be exactly the same. They're gonna adjust some things, and update a few things. But everything about this is just exciting to me. I know there's levels we haven't seen yet, because they've shown off so little, but it feels like so much, because it's very good looking, and like the effort and detail they put into developing this. Like, they sound passionate. They even said, like, in the Indie Direct, like, they threw out Turtles in Time and like the arcade game, like, we want to nail this, and it comes across in spades to me.
Definitely. Like, yeah, seeing the love that the developers of this game, but also like most of these games, actually, like, you can really see, like, it's so palpable, and it's really cool to have seen the developers talk about these games a little bit, and just to see the diversity, like, all over the world. Like, Nintendo is really trying to showcase, like, yes, we're trying to put them up front, like, really try to showcase different cultures and different perspectives, really, right?
Exactly. These have been pretty good about doing it. The two that come to mind, I remember, were Aerial Knight's Never Yield. It's like an endless runner.
That's what I'm super hyped
inspired by Vitcha in it. That looked really cool. I didn't like the dig at the beginning when they were introducing their game, saying like, "I made Detroit a gaming hub." Like, not usually known for gaming here, but I did it. It was like, yeah, there you go. It's like you don't have to be like in LA or something or San Francisco to do game development. And then that Azteca game near the end.
That was actually one I wanted to talk about too. Yeah, because I found out about them. Like, I remember I went to like the PlayStation Experience or like that was like in Los Angeles like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 2018. There we go. And I saw like Mulaka, their Lienzo's first game, and that drew me in. It was like, oh wow, let's learn about like native Mexico, like see. And it's really cool to see this company do it again, but like in modern times. And that one like really like caught me to see like a Mexican company try to showcase their culture, but like in a new modern way, and to see like this whole world. And in fact, actually, I'm even trying to buy like their old game Mulaka like in the indies sale right now, along with Hades. I need to get that.
Oh, nice. Hades,
yeah, so fun.
Man. So many, I hear so many great things about that. I'm like, what am I doing? I need to play these games.
There was there were a few others. I mean, we don't obviously don't need to cover anything. The one they opened with Road 96, like a choose your own adventure thing. For whatever reason, Huber, that seemed like it's shouted Huber to me because I was getting Life is Strange, but you have choose your own adventure. Like the story can go anywhere.
Totally, dude. One of the most hyped for sure. So excited about it. Any kind of just choose your own adventure or like imprint your life experiences into it, but also being taught about other life experiences, Life is Strange style. I love it. It seems like a very meditative, introspective game. And there was some like weird mechanics going on in there. It's like a rhythm stuff.
Yeah, that one part.
Yeah, like she was playing like a trombone or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how
I'm really excited for that one too. Like that one really caught my eye. They said like hundreds of thousands like of different routes. You could start in different ways. Like that one caught I haven't played Life is Strange yet. That's one I've been wanting to play also. Like my queue is too much, but
that remaster's coming.
Ooh, maybe I'll wait for that and then because that's the one I've heard so many great things about. And this Road 96 like looks really cool. Some French studios like doing it right, so that one looks really cool. Another one that caught my eye was the Skull, the Hero Slayer.
Yeah,
like that one like looks a lot of fun. Like they said, like 90 to like 100 different play styles for it, and you're like the bad guy, so. I was like, I like different perspectives along with that.
I actually have that on Steam. I've actually played that quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I've actually
also,
played
I didn't know it was already out.
Yeah, it's really fun, actually, yeah. Not much to say about it, other than, you just have
a lot of fun. Okay.
Positive.
Time to get into it.
I've only put like 90 minutes in, so I can't go like deep dive into it.
Gotcha.
But I played it on Steam. Super fun.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, been meaning to go back to it.
Getsu Fumiden, sorry. That like roguelike. It almost looked like Muramasa a little bit. The Demon Tale, that awesome, amazing game from Vanillaware, right? Yeah, Vanillaware.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, they're called Vanillaware. I almost like had a moment there. But like adding roguelike to that, because obviously Muramasa was more of like a Metroidvania light. So going in a different direction with that, and it, like the skill-driven 2D like action. It's kind of, I like games that are trying to do that. What was the one with the pointy head Souls-like looking dude?
Blasphemous.
Yeah, that's also trying to do like the high skill-based 2D action game. I'm glad to see people challenge those genres a little bit and push a little bit further. Yes. So that one looked pretty cool. You got another update on Chris Tales. Like that game, just like I think it's time to come out, man. I think everyone's like ready to play that. It's like proven itself in its trailers. And then the only other thing I wanted to say, this is kind of an Easy Allies inside joke, but the Longling, with that bird character, I thought it was Punished Bossman. Sorry. Kyle Bossman. I was like, this game is like Kyle Bossman's Punishment.
I love it.
That's all I have to say about that one. I'm sure it looked like, it's like the hook, the gimmick though is 400 real days. Is like
yeah.
the length of the game. It's like 400 real days.
I was wondering if it was real days or if it was...
Yeah, I said that, real days. I was like,
Wow.
oh man, that's so intense. Holy crap. That
Waiting
is
for 400 days.
Imagine a Persona was like that.
As long as the cat doesn't tell me to go to sleep, then we can make it happen, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to do some crazy, like, every day for 400 days streams of that, huh? Some channel out there.
Oh yeah, someone's gonna break the new record, on Twitch, since that was just, someone said, I forget who said it, but they beat Ninja's record of viewers.
Oh
by doing
yeah,
that
like 30. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stunts. That's Twitch, man. You got to keep pushing the crazy stunts.
Oh my gosh, I just hope these people actually take care of themselves during that time, not just really push themselves and push themselves to the brink of craziness. I don't know.
Well, yeah, waiting for that horror story, and not the fail horror story, but like the sad horror story where someone has something happen to them where,
oh no,
that's like the tragic warning that everyone's like, all right, we need to maybe dial back these streams of Twitch streaming. But
yeah, no, I can see honestly Twitch streamers and video gamers being the ones to push the boundaries like that. I mean, already we do that, so oof,
for sure.
What was the Where's Waldo looking game?
Oh yeah,
that looked sick. Something maze.
I like the style. Was that Labyrinth City? Yeah,
I think so. Labyrinth Maze. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, Pierre the Maze Detective. That one.
Dude.
Looks, yes.
I want to play that.
Yeah.
I want to play that so bad.
It looks so nice. I love the styles of so many of these games. They all are pushing the artisticness in just so many different ways. And then this one, it was it looks like you're literally looking at a Where's Waldo book, but it's moving along with you as you're looking at it. I loved it.
What was that game we played, Huber, on group stream? That was a Where's Waldo. It was one of Kyle's last streams. The spot, the thing. Yeah, that was. I mean, those are fun. I hope the game has a mode basically where multiple people can jump in and you all got to work together to try and spot the stuff. Those are fun. Those are really fun to play in a group setting.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I never knew that would actually be that appealing, but it really is. Indie World Showcase did happen this week, but we have another story that also sprung up recently involving our old friends at Microsoft once again. Now, Phil Spencer likes to show off his shelves behind him in a lot of his streams. And there's now a history with that. And people with eagle eye vision are always looking out for what Phil Spencer has got on his desk. And in the most recent stream, one of the more recent streams that Phil Spencer appeared on, there was a Kojima Productions Luden statue. That's a whole other can of worms over there. And then there was a Switch. And people are like, okay. And it was further fuel is thrown on the fire by journalist Jeff Grubb, who said, I was told everything on that shelf has a specific purpose. Let me make sure that was the actual
maybe
quote.
he just wanted to play the Switch. That's a purpose.
Pretty much everything on Phil's shelf meant something, including the Nintendo Switch. On a recent podcast for GamesBeat, is what Jeff Grubb stated. So now people are working themselves into a tizzy now about. The thing is, we already got Microsoft and Nintendo collaborations out. Let's be clear. We got the Ori games on Switch. We got Cuphead on Switch. We've had Minecraft on Switch forever, and we got Banjo-Kazooie and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as part of the Fighter Pass for Season 1. So we had a bunch of patrons write in asking us about this. And the first one is the most obvious one. Comes from Raul. If and big if, does this mean is Master Chief coming to Smash? And if that's true, will there be any other connections between Halo and Nintendo?
I think yes to both, honestly.
Ooh.
I think Chief is just the symbol of Xbox.
Absolutely.
He already showed up in Fortnite, which is really awesome. Weirdly, Nintendo though not in that. Who knows why? What's going on? Where's Samus? You got Kratos. You got Master Chief. You got Aloy. You got Lara Croft. Where you at? Nintendo, what's up? But maybe because they're not in Fortnite, they're gonna keep just like you say, Damiani. They have their own thing with Smash. That's their shared universe. So Fortnite is like kind of a direct competition to Smash in a weird way in terms of like collaborations. So
things I would have never really thought to have been said, but here we are.
I know.
Right?
I know. So maybe they were just holding off by not going into Fortnite because they knew Master Chief was coming to Smash or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think we'd all agree that Master Chief being in Smash would be like another one of the biggest announcements they could do.
Do you guys think it would be muted though because he just showed up in Fortnite? Do you think it would not be as exciting?
No,
or it would still be
huge,
hype as hell.
Huge.
Especially if they save it for the last one.
Yeah.
The last reveal, because we still got 2 more character reveals. I think we expect one to happen in June at their now E3 Direct that we know is going to be happening.
2 more characters all day? That's it? 2 on the pass?
Yeah, there's 2 more because there's 6 and we've gotten 4 so far.
And then we don't know if they're going to do another fighter pass. Still nothing.
Yeah, that's the other question.
Could maybe
they said this was the last one, but you
2.
never know. You know, with how successful this has been.
Gangbusters, right? Like even I bought them, and I'm not like a huge DLC type of guy, but yeah, I bought Fighter Pass 1, I bought Fighter Pass 2, and I'm ready for whoever's going to come in, right?
Yeah.
I think that, I think Huber, they would, especially with the Fortnite announcements, they'd probably save it for last. I mean, E3 is a big time, so maybe that will it'll be huge. I think it'll be huge no matter what. It won't be muted, but if that was like the finale, that would be one heck of a wrap up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you probably have a bunch of ideas about what Microsoft could do with Nintendo, and I'll get to those shortly. But Real Radic has a question, wants to flip the script a little bit. He wants to know, they want to know if, can the opposite happen? Will Nintendo ever be willing to offer Microsoft some unique opportunities? For example, what if Nintendo allows their virtual console games to be compatible with xCloud's devices? Is there any way Xbox players can have some Nintendo benefits, or will this partnership only amount to Microsoft content on Nintendo devices? Think you could ever see Nintendo content on Xbox stuff?
Anything's possible now, dude. We live in a time where I feel like anything's possible in this industry. Like, so many collaborations, so many revivals, sequels, remasters. Just that one moment from years ago when Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo were all standing on stage together. And then you just have things like Smash Bros. And Fortnite. And just, I feel like and cross-play is so huge now. Cross-play, like Outriders, PC, Xbox, PlayStation people all playing together. So I think right now, anything's possible. I could totally see this going down. I never thought, like, a couple years ago, Mario or Nintendo with mobile. Everyone's like, no, they're never going to do mobile. And like, now they've done multiple. So I think they totally could.
Fire Emblem is one of their biggest things now on mobile, for sure.
I used to be hooked on that. It took me a while to get myself off of that, but now I'm playing Three Houses, so.
Yeah, no.
Never played Fire Emblem.
I've never played Three Houses.
I haven't played. I just started like a few days ago. Chose Black Eagles. Love it.
How's it treating you?
I really love it. I was playing XCOM a lot, and now I just switched to this, so it feels like still like in the same like realm of strategy games, but Fire Emblem is good to be back. And then I love it. Sick. I'm interested to see like what's gonna happen with Nintendo and Microsoft. I feel like Microsoft is gonna rely more on it's gonna be like more towards supporting Nintendo versus the other way around, because at least from what I see, it seems like Nintendo is like the stronger of the two, right? But then again, I don't know. I'm not like huge in like the game news. Like, in fact, I'm learning a lot from you guys right now, so I'm excited to see like what's gonna happen.
The last couple of months, Microsoft has clawed its way near the top. I feel like if you ask me right now, April 2021, Microsoft is crushing it. They got a lot of momentum. So yeah, I think anything good they could do with Nintendo would only fuel that up. Uneasy alliance versus the big dog Sony.
I also think, so for Godswill, I also think it's about access. Microsoft wants access to the Switch platform because it is the #1 platform right now for gaming specific platforms. So they want their games and services on there. So they've thrown out games, I feel, that speak to what they assume is the Nintendo demographics, like Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Cuphead, and Minecraft. So
yeah, I bought
those are
Cuphead for a Switch, and I've been loving it.
Exactly.
I feel like that's a great spot for it.
So
such a hard game.
They view it as gateway games. I feel like that. Oh, if you're interested in this, we have more of these types of games on our platform. Come check us out. But also the service stuff. Like the biggest rumor, and everyone asks about it, is that whether Game Pass or xCloud, which is their cloud-based gaming service, will they put those on Switch so that Switch owners could be playing Microsoft product games, their IPs? Like we could be playing Halo on Switch. But
That'd
you're
be
paying
nuts.
into Microsoft's ecosystem by having to pay that sub fee, essentially. So, like, putting, like, a streaming service on different platforms, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like Microsoft is winning in that sense for sure. Like is everywhere. Like I do see people talking about Microsoft games everywhere, like because of that access, like opening it up like that. Yeah, I'm interested to see like what's going to happen this year. It sounds like a lot of moves are going to be made. And it seems like access is the name of the game, right?
Yes. I feel like it's that, and I think they're starting to realize that working together can have its benefits. And in fact, I think you might be right, Huber. Microsoft might also be smelling some blood in the water with Sony, some weakness. Because even if it's not true, Huber, I understand you feel some of the criticism against Sony is a little too harsh right now because because you said like Matt Piscatella of MPD said PlayStation 5 just became like the fastest like selling hardware in U.S. history. So like they're doing record numbers, yet people are saying they're not doing well. That Jim Ryan's running them into the ground or something like that.
Totally.
But like that might not actually be true, but public perception, if Microsoft sees the tides turning, they could seize on that. And remember back during the PS3 360 Wii era, the Wii 60 stuff that was going on, like that uneasy alliance of Wii owners and like they were like, buy a Wii, buy a 360, just don't buy a PS3. So it's like buy an Xbox Series X or S and buy a Switch, just don't buy a PlayStation 5.
Totally. Yeah, Sony is selling a ton, but like the public optics are not good right now. So in the last couple of months, it just feels like even though they're like dominating record sales wise, there's just been a lot of hits and hits and hits, just because Game Pass is the future. It feels like it's just such good value. It's completely changed the way people consume games, the way they view games, the way they engage with games. It's just radically changing this entire industry.
Now let me ask you this, and specifically you, Godswill. So like Sony at first said they would not do a Game Pass type subscription service, so you subscribe, play our games for a monthly fee instead of buying them outright. But there's been reports that Sony might be changing their tune. We actually have a patron question from Ehab here, who wants to know, would Nintendo ever consider doing a Games Pass service themselves? Would you, they want to know like what that would entail, but like, would you ever be interested as a Switch owner just paying a monthly fee and getting access to a bunch of like new Switch games for no additional cost instead of renting them versus buying them outright, essentially?
Earlier, I said anything is possible. This is impossible. This is never gonna happen.
But the hypothetical, like, would I'm curious
if it was ever happen.
Yeah, like, would either of you be interested in that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Months on Rise. You don't have to pay $60 for it. You just have to pay $14.99 every month, and you have access to it. And you play like me. Someone who plays a month of it, that I got my $15 worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that would be like a great value, especially if it's for any game or like any game in like the Nintendo catalog. Like, there's so many like older titles that like I really do want to dig into for sure, but wouldn't want to like have to pay full price for that. But yeah, I mean, that would entice me to like turn on my Switch a lot more. Like right now, like I'm more like focused on like on my PS4 still, but yeah, I would totally like if they had like a streaming service like that, I would totally turn on my Switch a lot more.
A game like Pokemon Snap would be perfect for this. Because I know
absolutely back to the blockbuster
because it's not six. Yeah, exactly. Because it's a $60 game. I feel there are gonna be some people that have a problem with paying $60 for Pokemon Snap. But if it was on a Nintendo Game Pass, man, I wonder which would do better for them. I mean, obviously a lot of people are going to buy it, and it's going to sell full price, so probably the full price. But
and that's all. See that, Damiani, that's the perception thing again that I've just been thinking about lately. Is like, holy shit, $60 for that game is insane because of Game Pass too. It's made everything all weird and muddled. But like, everyone's going to be pissed at the price and everything. It's gonna be loud of like, dude, this is not worth it. This is unacceptable price. But what if it still sells like record numbers? Like if it sells record numbers, but everyone is pissed, like
they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it works, don't fix. Like there's nothing to fix, right? Because I agree. Like I'm not personally interested in getting that. Like it seems like a blockbuster game. It makes. I mean. Like
the original was.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I mean, like it was all about going to Blockbuster, developing your pictures there, right? Like if they had like that type of service for sure, then I'd be like, okay, let's relive, especially if they're gonna bring back a property that was popular as a kid, right? I'm sort of hoping to do it sort of the same way as I did as a kid, right? So.
Seriously, gotta sign up for GameFly, dude. GameFly that thing.
I was just thinking the earlier question from Real Radic about what can Nintendo offer makes me think again about the leak of the GoldenEye remaster that's fully playable. People got it, like people downloaded it, people are playing it. It's done. It's ready to go. It's like, what if that licensing issues were ironed out and it happens? I could see that appearing on Microsoft's platform as here they've been waiting for this. Here you go, in exchange for something like, oh, here's xCloud at like it's gonna be a discounted price for Switch owners, and you could play all of our Xbox Series X S games that are available on it, on Switch, as long as your internet connection holds up. Because I mean that'd be a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
I just want GoldenEye to come out. Sorry, I want that remastered game officially to come out.
Sony is gonna lean on their big budget blockbuster exclusives. Microsoft's gonna lean in on Game Pass. Nintendo, you've got the legacy.
We've gone here so many times, Huber.
You have all of the 10 out of 10s. You have them all. Like, lean into your legacy, whether that's remasters, remakes, whatever, or just like giving access. If you just give us access to that stuff. I'm not a brand manager though. I don't know the best way to leverage that, because that's Nintendo's golden ticket, I feel like. Obviously, they're in no danger. They're selling incredible, look to the future, a lot of good stuff coming, but like one of their main strengths as a brand is that legacy. So many of those games are hard to play and hard to track down. Even the ones that aren't as hard, a lot of people may just not have them. So somehow just opening the floodgates, or like having
how do you guys feel?
Maybe that's the subscription service. Like, yeah.
Like, how'd you guys feel about the Mario release that just had happened, right?
Yep.
Like, was that like I didn't play it, unfortunately, but like I had heard like good and bad for it, and I was wondering like what you guys had thought about that.
It's weird, I maybe that it was an experiment because they don't know how to leverage their legacy games, because they keep doing these remasters for $60 and people complain, but I feel like they sell. But then they go Disney style and they put them back in the vault.
Yeah.
So what's the future look like, Damiani, for
I think it's
the history? Just more bring him out of retirement, remaster him, touch him up type thing.
I think that's gonna be their formula, and it stinks because they do have even their older stuff. The shuttering of the Virtual Console service in favor of, we do have the NES and SNES online catalog, but there is no vast offering like we had before. And while there are some games that do appear, collections do appear on the eShop, it's still kind of the Wild West with that. Like, you don't know when something's going to show up. It comes out of the blue, and there's still a ton of great classic games that aren't playable on Switch that you'd think would be so obvious. Like, just the handheld library of games, Game Boy Advance games. Heck, if they could figure out a way to do DS or 3DS games, why aren't they on Switch? It's just They have as you said, Huber, they have a treasure trove.
They have all the 10s.
And then they like, I wonder, I feel like sometimes they go too far with their protecting of the value of their brand. They want to guard the access, but sometimes they're like, you could kind of relax some of those a little bit. You could put out a little bit more. I think you're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, man.
I think that's a thing that's been a bummer for me too. Like where there are so many classic games, but it's like, how do you play them? I mean, and especially like now, like talking about like PlayStation 3 and Vita, right? Yeah. It's like, how do you play those games if those are supposed to be going offline? So I don't know.
My PS3 is so sketchy. It like powers down randomly.
I just bought a new PS3.
I should do that. I should fucking do that.
Yeah,
and
or like a used new PS3. Yeah, because my old PS3, like the HDMI and the AV stopped working, and I'm just like, well, what do I do now, right? There needs to be like some solutions because these are great. There's the old games are great, and I would like for these publishers to actually like make it easier to play more of these old games, and it doesn't have to be remastered. Just give it back to us, right? Totally. I mean, the DS, like what you said about the Switch, the DS games, it's just sort of like, just put it on there. I want to play Golden Sun easier, versus having to find it, get a DS.
Yes. Yeah, these games, and a lot of it's Nintendo history. And outside of playing Smash Brothers, learning that there's Smash Brothers, it's like,
I mean, Mother. I want to play Mother. I mean, Lucas and Ness, and it's just sort of like to hear about like how hard it is to try to go play Mother, I have to go emulate or whatever. It's just how ridiculous. And then to get in trouble for I'm sorry, I want to know more about the games that you told me about, but I can't.
Exactly. And it's, from any person's standpoint, it looks like it's money left on the table. From a business standpoint, it's like, why? You could be making money off of this. What's wrong?
And I think that is why Microsoft in this moment is crushing it, because their arms are open and they're not alienating anyone. They're saying, come and play. Sony is like, no Days Gone 2, no backwards compatibility really, big exclusives only.
Right,
and then
Nintendo, Last of Us.
And then Nintendo is just doing their own things, but Microsoft is like, hey, Game Pass for all, games for all, everyone come on in, let's play. The water's nice.
That's a great point.
They are definitely nailing it with that. It's not perfect, but like it's the best out there, and I do feel they deserve a lot of praise and credit for doing that. So
no doubt.
I wish somehow they could apply more like if they were setting records, that would put more pressure on mostly Sony, and to an extent maybe Nintendo. Nintendo usually just ignores what everyone else is doing most of the time, but at least Sony, because as you said, Godswill, like I'm actually seriously considering looking for a PS3 Fat, like an OG model, like it's 60 gig, because I have
backwards compatibility.
Because I have one, but I'm scared that like I think you can't even send them in for repairs anymore. If you can, I need to like fudge it and like it's broken. Please do maintenance on it so it's like as good as it will ever be. But that's my way to play PS1 and PS2 games as well. If I lose that thing goes out, I can't even. I have to go track down a way to play my physical copies, which sucks.
It's a bummer. It doesn't make any sense. Like I would love backwards compatibility. I feel like that's something that like everyone has been asking for so long. And like yes, we know it's expensive, but I think us gamers now that we're at a mature level, we have like enough disposable income. We're down for it, right?
Exactly. And like,
I feel like they rolled the dice on it. Sony did. We're like, we don't need it. Maybe like we're fine. We have other alternatives, and it was Snake Eyes.
Yeah, their data probably shows that. I feel, and I think Nintendo's data maybe showed that as well. But we've also shifted a lot more towards digital, especially over this past year with COVID. And I'm not even asking. I understand a lot of people want everything. They want like physical copies to be backwards compatible. I think that's going to get a little too ridiculous at some point.
Did you see the Photoshop, Damiani, of the PS5 with just another disc drive that plays PS1, 2, 3? It was perfect. It was like, just do that. Yeah.
I would totally pay extra for that,
I'd pay extra for a system for that. Yeah. Sorry, Godswill,
Yeah, no, exactly. I would totally pay for that. Like I'm like I haven't looked for a PS5 because just hearing about this drama still, and I'm totally happy with my PS4 right now. But at the same time, when they first announced the PS5 and they announced the disc drive with the non-disc drive, I was like, oh, I need a disc drive because I can't rely on just digital only, really, personally, And if they did involve like a full set and it costs more than $1,000, I would still do that personally. Maybe I shouldn't say I should do that, and they're like, oh, let's make it
right now
more.
In their press review. We had a source say they pay $1,000. I mean, but some of those retro devices out there that are trying to fill that gap do cost a lot of money. Like, was the NT one, the retro one,
Capcom arcade stick,
and that crazy. like hundreds of dollars to like $500. So like, you're right, Godswill. Like, I think enthusiasts will pay for that because they care so much about being able to play their library of games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if it's like a limited amount of this enthusiast version, right? I mean, it's still gonna sell out. It's like, come on, y'all, money on the table, just like you said. It doesn't really make sense. Yeah, it's like because there's no access, there's no way to go get it, But I guess international licensing is always like a thing, Like me and you like have seen like how that is like in like the anime world, right? So maybe it's the same or like similar for the video game world too.
Exactly, which is, I understand why it makes it difficult for some of those re-releases, but like doing as much as you can, which is why I was gonna say earlier, I understand supporting physical might get like, that might be the option they have to do is like a really expensive high-end version. I would even settle for just digitally release these on every platform going forward. Even if you make me have to buy them again, just an option that they're always available so that I'm never locked out of that game experience. So when I play a Smash Brothers or when I watch a video series on YouTube about this and it's like, this is your IP, I want to go learn and play more about it, or play more and learn more about it, it's not even available anymore. Like, wait, what? I can't even play this? Like, missed opportunities there. Rather, missed connections, man. Yeah. I feel like Sony and Nintendo could do a better job in that regard, for sure.
Absolutely.
Totally. Agree.
I didn't realize I skipped over some questions about indie stuff. I missed it in my notes. So,
Damiani and Hyperstone Heist, the extra boss is, I wanted to tell you this when we were talking about it earlier, is none other than Tatsu.
Tatsu?
Only in Hyperstone Heist, not in...
I think you've said this before, because I remember this, but that now being reminded, that's so hype.
Hyperstone Heist exclusive, dude,
gosh.
Tatsu.
Dude. Time to get that Sega Genesis.
Yeah. These questions were about Indie World Showcase, about what ifs. We get these questions every so often, so it's kind of fun to do these. The first one comes from Declan. Which indie developer would you want handling a Nintendo IP a la Cadence of Hyrule? Love and respect. Is there any indie developer or any Nintendo IP that you would want to see like come back, maybe even if it's in indie form?
Team Cherry, Metroid. Let's go.
Okay, that's obvious. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I know people have asked about a remake of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, coming from someone like Way Forward or like a Yacht Club Games, because they've already done like the Mega Man style like 2D action adventure games. So those feel like that's in their wheelhouse, and that game is, to me, is pretty ripe for a remake, because it's a very hard game to go back and play and really enjoy. It's like very rough experience. So polishing that up and reimagining it and updating it for modern audiences, I think would maybe help its legacy. Plus, it's one of the most unique Zeldas, side-scrolling action in an RPG, like a more traditional RPG. That Zelda really hasn't done that since. So it'd be kind of nice to see that.
That's a cool answer. I like that.
There's one that we've said a trillion zillion times. The most times 10 is From Software Castlevania. Obviously. Come on.
That's
That
not
would be
indie.
sick.
But yeah, another idea.
Oh,
It
yeah,
should be
shit.
awesome.
Sorry.
Wait, no,
Indie, sorry,
From
sorry.
Software is now indie. Yes, they've gone back to indie.
Sorry. My bad.
I know. Any excuse to say From Software in Castlevania on any show on Easy Allies, that's pretty much what happens here. If you have anything Godswill or any Nintendo game that hasn't had like a sequel for a while that you actually care about, or it's all right if not.
I want to see Donkey Kong 64 again somehow.
I love
you like
I
Donkey
love
Kong
I
64?
love you. Yes.
Oh no!
Yes!
Oh, I
You
got
like
all
it?
200.
Everyone always gives me shit, Godswill. Yes.
Really? I mean, I loved it as a like,
Oh
a kid.
man,
Like,
I
got all the
don't like that
bananas.
game.
Really? Oh
don't like
man,
it.
that's funny. Like I loved it.
sorry.
So I would like to see that again.
Hell yeah. Dude, that
yeah.
multiplayer with the freaking like watermelon rocket launcher. Let's go.
Also, Conker's Bad Fur Day. That'd be really sick to see again. Like for real. Like not like the Xbox version, but like yeah, if we could see it like again on like Nintendo, that'd be really cool.
I would love. I know so we've now gone from indie to like whatever. I'll indulge us. Getting a proper Banjo-Kazooie like 3 on like Switch, or even if it's just like Nintendo gets involved and it's on like both platforms, like Microsoft and Nintendo platforms. I would just give me a proper sequel somehow.
Yeah. I feel like we should come up with one for the question, and because it's freaking hype and awesome. What would Super Giant Games do? The makers of Hades and Bastion and Pyre. If they could do a Nintendo game, what would it be?
I mean, because the game already is the same mythology. Because I'd say like Kid Icarus would be perfect to do like a song. But like it's already Hades. It's kind of already Hades.
Yeah.
Just replace.
That's cool though, dude. Good
That'd be
take.
sick. Yeah. I mean, Kid Icarus is a franchise that they tried to revive with Uprising on 3DS. It's a cult favorite. I think fan
That's what I
favorite for
heard.
sure.
Yeah, I heard it's divisive.
What did they do to try and bring that series back? Because Pit is so prominently featured in a lot of stuff, especially Smash Brothers and Palutena. Like I think they need to figure out a way to bring Pit back somehow and into their own game. But maybe I don't know. Like Kirby seems to do pretty well with what it is, so I don't know about needing to do anything different with Kirby. The other one I would say, like even hand it off to an indie developer, would be F-Zero or Wave Race, because they're just MIA. And what was it? Recently, former Nintendo illustrator Takaya Imamura said that it's not dead. It's just like sleeping, waiting for like a grand idea to revive it. And I'm like,
Dope.
oh, come on! Like that rumored Star Fox Grand Prix or whatever with F-Zero Star Fox crossover wasn't grand enough. And then someone just posted like F-Zero 99 Battle Royale. It's like, oh, there you go.
That'd be a dope idea.
The makers of Riptide, dude. Who did that? That game is so sick, and it's like the only Wave Race style game. Riptide. Who's the developer? That's what I want.
I gotta look at the Riptide video game. Dead Island Riptide. What's that?
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad. It's bad.
Real bad. I think I gave that game a 3 out of 10.
Riptide GP, is that the name of it, Huber?
Yep.
A vector unit. It looks like it's developed. It didn't say developer on this page. Weird. About company. Big Small Games. Vector unit. It's developed by
Vector Unit.
Sorry,
Vector Unit. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Vector Unit for Wave Race.
All right. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Dude, Riptide is super fun. It's really small. There's a Riptide GP2 and Riptide Renegade, I think, was the follow-up. Kyle Bossman's super into those. I played them a ton. I finished both of them. Just really, really fun. Simple. Again, small budget, low budget. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a Wave Race type game, that's about it that I know.
I got a few more questions to wrap this up. Before we wrap this up, sorry. I know we're having so much fun with like coming up with I feel like we do this every few episodes. So one episode, I think we spent an hour doing what we were just doing. It was fun.
It's a cool
but
concept. I like it. I'm just hoping that the right people also listen to this and be like, maybe we should try to make this happen.
Yeah.
One thing about the Indie World Showcase I saw some disappointment about. This comes from Nick. Why do people keep expecting Hollow Knight Silksong at these Indie Worlds? The original Hollow Knight was revealed at Nintendo's E3 Showcase, so it stands that they wouldn't demote its status to an indie world, right?
Yeah.
It's not a demotion. It's not a demotion. If you highlight an entire showcase, even if it's an indie showcase, that's a prominent spot. I don't think it's meant as disrespect, but like given its success and how huge of a property it is,
I get that. It's worthy. It's worthy of an E3. Like it should be like it would be classified as like a big announcement.
Huge announcement. Yeah.
Totally. Okay. Because I bet the viewers for the showcase aren't nearly as big as like an E3 showcase. This indie one.
They're big, but not as big.
Oh yeah, no. I was just gonna agree with you. Like where like it feels like it would do well at like a regular announcement like E3 or bigger conventions. So it doesn't really make sense to put it here. Although we did see like some bigger titles like House of the Dead in this, right? So, but I sort of like the indie games getting their own spotlight versus like having to put here's the huge title that everyone's been waiting for, I guess, right?
Exactly.
But that is, Damiani, it is a little weird though, because isn't Team Cherry like small, dude? Yeah. It's like a handful of people making this. So isn't that an indie game? Isn't this the place that
it's definitely Huber, it is an indie game by definition. It is definitely still in that category. So I'm gonna split the difference here. Well, it would be an honor and a privilege for it to be like a featured in E3. I think the bigger honor here would be Hollow Knight Silksong gets its own direct. Silksong Direct. Just its own direct. Own 20-minute deep dive into the game.
Like Resident Evil style, dude.
There you
Hollow Knight Showcase. Let's go.
That would be the perfect solution, I feel like. So, Nintendo, make that happen. But then again,
viewers, I know the last thing you want to hear is to go play games because your backlog is probably as big as Godswill's, but seriously, Hollow Knight, don't skip it. Be ready for Silksong. This shit is the best. It's the best.
Like, I just keep hearing so many. Like that's also another game that's been in my queue for so long. I bought it and I know. Like I
just played it like a year ago. Godswill.
Very
no
long.
Rush.
So
it is long, but like if you could just play a few hours, Godswill.
Also, I'm a completionist too. Like if there's trophies, like for me,
this will take you forever. There's so much.
Okay, Godswill,
that's what I'm like nervous
pretty
about.
Impossible. I'm just gonna give you a warning up front.
Okay, maybe I will just aim just to beat it and just be like happy with it. Like I just finished God of War. Actually, I just got the platinum for God of War.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, Bloodborne. I just got that platinum. And then like usually if it has like a feasible platinum, then I'm like, okay, let me see if I can try it. But also that's one reason I'm so slow with these games. There's so many games to play. So maybe Hollow Knight, I'll just aim to play it, beat it, and then not to platinum it.
Beating it is an accomplishment. Yes.
So good.
Worth it. Even if you didn't finish it, it's just worth it to play.
Yeah.
This last question covers a story that just broke recently. It's not entirely Nintendo related. It does cover Nintendo stuff. I did want to cover it because I'm very personally interested in it. Level Capybara wants to let us know that there were a few reports this week, which made it sound like Square Enix was going to get purchased, potentially. Like, there were interested buyers. Bloomberg Japan did this report, but Square Enix shot it down immediately the next day in a very official-looking statement. But that got them wondering, what would the gaming landscape look like if Nintendo bought Square Enix?
Whoa. I think it would really trigger an arms race, honestly. If that goes down, I feel like then the ball goes to Microsoft or Sony, and then another big acquisition goes down. Kojima Productions gets picked up, and all hell breaks loose. I mean, because Bethesda was kind of that moment too. It felt like where it's like, whoa, are the big three just gonna own everything? And then that's that. Like, so I feel like if Square Enix gets picked up, I feel like the landscape would be very different. And yeah, I don't know. It's intense. It's very intense.
I was gonna say, because when you said arms race, I thought you meant like a graphics arm race, because from my perspective, I don't know if either of you thought this at all. Nintendo is not known for their cutting edge visuals, and not all Square Enix games
different
are.
Ways, but yeah.
But Square Enix's showpieces are usually about pushing boundaries.
True.
And I wonder how that would work on Switch. So when you said arms race, would Square Enix kind of put pressure on Nintendo? Hey, that Switch Pro better be pretty beefy, or that Switch 2 better be able to run our visuals and stuff like
Final
that.
Fantasy, right?
Part of the contract
that would
is
be
like,
my concern.
upon purchase, Nintendo has to...
Exactly. That's so. Do you agree with that? It's twofold. Would there be some dissenters out there about now my Square Enix games are going to look like trash or not look as good? I mean, they probably get that harsh. And two, online stuff. Nintendo's not good with online. You know me, Huber. Final Fantasy 14, like
14.
What the hell is going to happen to 14? I mean, probably nothing.
Totally.
But like, would Nintendo allow them to keep doing their thing, or would there be some compromises on quality here and there?
I don't know, dude. I don't like to think about this. This is bleak. I want everyone to be able to play it all, you know? Competition is good, exclusives are good, but like Square Enix, love them or hate them, you know, Brad, dude, that Square Enix tax is brutal. But like now that Bethesda is owned by Microsoft, like that it stings a little bit, because it is fun to have multiple parties, you know, not just the big three. It is fun to have like these wild cards that make games on all the systems. So yeah, I wouldn't like it. Like I don't want all these companies to buy everything up. But
yeah, I'm not for that either. I thought a lot about this when the story was breaking, because people are starting to freak me out about what companies might buy Square Enix and what might happen to them. Like, oh no, this is the reality that might be the future for us. With all, as you say, if they get into that type of arms race that Huber was describing,
Bethesda
what will the
style
landscape look like? And I was thinking about who I would be okay with Square Enix being bought by, and I was like, honestly, Microsoft. Because they wouldn't screw with the PC stuff. Like, they would actually encourage all that to keep going. They'd probably give them the... Yeah,
see, and that's
Sony,
that's another thing, Damiani, is Microsoft just gets the PC as well. So it's like just that more optics, man, more inclusive. Microsoft, play here, play there. Totally.
For sure. Well, as it stands now, it seems like that story's not true. Square Enix denied it, so there's really not much else to talk about. So, heart attack avoided for now. Please let Square Enix keep doing their thing. And a final little notation I have here, Matt Piscatella gave some MPD data. Mario Kart 8 is now the best-selling racing game in the U.S. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch, leading that spearheading that latest charge. Still charting. I don't know if it has or it should soon surpass Mario Kart Wii is just the best-selling racing game period everywhere, and the best non-packed-in standalone release. Unless Animal Crossing passes. But Mario Kart 8, man, Deluxe, just going strong still. Like, props to it. But, you know, people keep saying, like, where's Mario Kart 9 and stuff? But, like, it's like, what do you even do? I know we've talked about this, but it's like, nothing is a sure thing for, like, equaling Mario Kart 8's sales. That's like a beast.
Yeah. I was on Twitch the other day, and 800,000 people were watching GTA 5.
Wow.
These old games, man. Mario
GTA
Kart, GTA...
Was it online or is it?
I think so.
Okay,
think so,
online is a big community.
But like Mario Kart, dude.
Yeah.
Those two, I feel like those are the two biggest games of all time. Like GTA 5, Mario Kart.
Billions.
8.
Yeah. Man, 800,000 people watching it. Like,
just the other day.
2021, yeah.
I know.
It came out years ago, yeah.
You wonder why
multiple systems, yeah. I actually even have it. Here we go. Yeah, I even have GTA 5 on PS3 right here.
Yeah, ready to go. Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, does it have the PS5 updates yet?
Not yet.
Godswill? Not yet. Okay.
They've teased that. Yeah.
Okay.
They said the end of this year, I believe.
Gotcha. Man,
GTA 6 never coming out. They don't need that. making billions of dollars on this one game. They don't need to ever make a new game.
Seriously.
Yeah, until that's the difference. When they sell well, they'll keep supporting it forever. So that every retro game just needs to sell billions of dollars worth of copies. And
come on, y'all, just get better.
Yeah,
sell that money, and then you can get on every console. I don't know.
Get on that Mario Kart level.
Oh man. Yeah, that's all I had. I didn't know if there's anything we glossed over, or anything, Godswill, that you wanted to mention or anything like that before we wrap up here. Or you good?
Indie games. I'm glad you told me to watch the indie games session, because now I got so many more games I'm really interested in now.
So good. Yes.
Oh,
sorry
boy.
though to add to your backlog.
Like I even have Kingdom Hearts 3 still unwrapped, and it's just like it's still wrapped. Oh my goodness. Yeah, here we go. I bought it. I bought it the day it came out, and I still haven't opened it yet. That's blasphemy.
Oh man.
Put myself out there like that. So
that is,
because I was trying to platinum Birth by Sleep, and then I was just sort of like, oh, there's so many games I want to play, and I got whatever. Anyways, more games to play.
Love it.
Support the indie game scene, and then Game Pass. Maybe I'll be on that. I don't know.
Seriously.
That is going to do it for this episode of Friend Code. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions for us for this episode of Friend Code. To submit questions for consideration, you need to be a $5 and up patron. I'll make that post the week we are recording, calling for your submissions. As a $5 patron, you also get this episode of Friend Code and episodes of some of our other podcasts and some of our other shows a little bit early as part of the early access tier. So thank you to everyone who supports us that way. Also give special thanks to our shout out tier of patrons for the month of April. So shout out to Elthanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, Nick, Stephen Thomason, Edsgar, Soma Spider, So What, Sage Mode Q, Alex Al. Thank you so much, and shout out.
Shout out.
Woo.
Shout out.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's funny. So Godswill, shout out tier. We do this on all three of our podcasts: Frame Trap, Easy Allies Podcast, and Friend Code. We each have different ways of handling. On the Easy Allies Podcast, we do kind of a cadence thing where the first person starts and halfway, and so on. So the four people do shout out, like that until the end. That's like their gimmick. And I did that for a little while, but like, nah, I'm just gonna do like a stand-up, straightforward, delivery of this. So. But
stand in
the spirit there. I think you're the first guest who's actually said shout out when I've done that. So like I'm like yes. I was like yeah. But Godswill though, thank you for being on. But do you have any personal projects or anything you want to let our listeners and viewers know about before we sign off here?
Yeah, I do my own podcast. It's still growing, trying to get on y'all's level. It's called That's Dope Entertainment, where we just talk about whatever we think is dope. We usually like a lot of nerd culture. Always insert some One Piece stuff in the episodes. We talk about all different types of stuff. And then we were doing events before Corona time, but as soon as we get back to it, we'll be doing more nerd parties. So we did like Cowboy Bebop party, a Kingdom Hearts theme party. I got like a Metal Gear event that I got planned. So, stay tuned for things like that. But yeah, we're on That's Dope Entertainment, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. So, listen to the podcast. We're releasing episode 67 pretty soon. So, yeah.
Dang, yeah, that's going there. Because I think this is episode 101 for this. So, yeah, time goes by really quickly, and you don't realize that when you're doing this stuff, huh?
Yeah, honestly, I'm grateful that like it's still going, versus things slowing down and just sort of like, are we doing this or not, right?
Hopefully it's almost over, and those events sound sick though. Like when you said Metal Gear, I'm like, okay, I'm very curious.
Tuned.
Yeah, very curious.
Stay tuned. Like, yeah, it'll be themed sort of that sense. So yeah, I'm excited to see like what's gonna happen for that. But big ideas.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Friend Code. Until next time, everybody, may the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.